How are the Thunder going to pay SGA, Chet, J-Dubs, and the rest of their roster? Maybe, just maybe, they figured out how to work around the new CBA. What is up, NBA fans, Thunder fans, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports, and I gotta say, I was in shock with all the huge contracts that Thunder have been signing recently, but I was like, you know what? Let's dig a little deeper here. Is there a way they can make this work? Before I give my 2 cents on whether they actually will be able to work around this, I want to get into an article from Forbes talking about everything that's recently happened so we can get caught up. $822 million in extensions. Oh, my Lanta. First one, of course, is the Thunder agreed to a 4-year Supermax extension with reigning MVP SGA worth a projected $285 million. But they weren't done there. Chet Holmgren got a 5-year extension worth as much as $250, but wait, there's more. 5-year extension was given to Jalen Williams, by the way, which could rise to $287 million if he wins MVP or Defensive Player of the Year or gets named to an All-NBA team this coming season. I don't know about the first two, but All-NBA, certainly possible. Williams and Holmgren's new contracts won't take effect until the 26-27 season, while SGA's doesn't begin until 27-28. However, they will start feeling the wrath of the NBA's collective bargaining agreement soon. Once Holmgren and Williams' new deal kicks in, the Thunder project to have a payroll of roughly $246 million. This was per ESPN's Bobby Marks. That would put them well above the projected $209 million first apron and $222 million second apron, which lead to a host of team building restrictions. And it only gets worse when SGA's Supermax extension begins in 27-28. The Thunder are about to become the ultimate test of whether big threes are viable long-term under the new CBA. All right, let's pull up their payroll. Boop. SGA Supermax kicks in at 27-28. And that's when they're all going to be just making a ton of money. SGA right around 61, and then Jalen and Chet both making around about 45. And why the Thunders will work and maybe not the Celtics, I think that's the one that really sticks out with folks. The Celtics just won a championship last year, and now they're breaking apart. Yes, Jason Tatum's Achilles injury has a lot to do with that, but they are going to be way over the second apron again and have massive tax penalties. So how could this work for the Thunder and not the Celtics? Well, for the Thunder, they're going to pay their big three, as you can see. SGA, Jalen, Chet. That's a lock for the next more than 5 years. As far as the other 12 players on their roster, I think it's going to be a mix, and this is all just my opinion, of vets, draft picks, and everything in between. They're going to have their big three salaries and whatever guys they've developed, players like Topic, Sorber, etc., plus vets making significantly less than your Alex Caruso's, your Isaiah Jones, your Aaron Wiggins, etc. Where this did not work for the Celtics is they have 5 guys making big bucks, no whammies, next season. They're not on the roster anymore, but before the offseason, before the trades, they had Jason Tatum, who was set to make $54 million. Jaylen Brown, $53 million. Drew Holiday, $32 million. Kristaps Porzingis, $31 million. And Derek White at $28 million. Those 5 players combined is $198 million. That's more than these 3 guys. Yes, I know it's 5 players compared to 3, but follow me here. In 2 years, with the higher cap, OKC's big 3 will be making about $150 million. So does this new model they're doing, does it work? Have they found a workaround for the CBA? Yes, but there's an asterisk to this. This model is not going to work for everyone. The Thunder's rebuild has been absolutely fantastic, and this model works for them because they've accumulated a ton of draft capital, but not only accumulated a ton of draft capital, they're hitting with their draft picks. When a player becomes too costly, they'll move on, either just let them go to free agency or trade them. But they've had the capital and hitting the picks to be able to do this, and not every team is able to do that. I'm a San Antonio Spurs fan, obviously, and I see the Spurs trying to do something similar. They have a lot of draft capital set for the future and swaps in 30 and 31, and then they have their big core 3, which in a couple years should be Wemby, Castle, and Harper, De'Aaron Fox, still a question mark. I don't know. I hope it works out for my Spurs with the Thunder. I think they're going to make this work. It's going to be a rotation of players, a constant rotation. Similar, maybe if I use a better analogy as it hits me, the San Antonio Spurs had their big 3 with Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili. Different salary situation, of course. Tim took pay cuts here and there near the end of his career. But anyway, they had their big 3. And they filled in great players, great role players around those three, but they always had their core. I think the Thunder, I recollect Sam Presti, former Spur, president GM of the Thunder, doing a fantastic job with building a team. The Spurs did it back in the day when they were a dynasty. Big three, rotating players, and not rotating all the time. Players stuck around 4 years, 8 years, whatever it may be. But they had their dynasty. They had their big three. The Thunder are now doing the exact same thing. Their big three, SGA, Chet, and J-Dubs. And now the Spurs are trying to repeat finish the life cycle there of picking up with, doing the same thing the Thunder are doing, where we're going to have our big three and just bring, rotating players. You see it. The Spurs are literally doing it right now. Bringing in these vets on expiring contracts like your Kelly Olynyk's, Harrison Barnes on an expiring contract. I think the Spurs are planting the seeds to try to grow into something similar to what exactly the Thunder is doing. So as much as I don't want to say it, I think the Thunder are going to find a way for this to work. If you're a Thunder fan, my only concern would be Chet Holmgren, because he's been quite dinged up in his short 3-year career, missing all of his rookie season. The second season, credit to him, he played all 82 games. And then last season he missed like 40 games, 45 games, something like that. And I know you can say, TSR, you're a Spurs fan, Wemby. Hey, I have concerns too with the guy being 7-6 or 7-7 now. We'll see how it plays out. I sincerely hope both players stay healthy for the next decade plus. I think the Thunder versus the Spurs is going to be must-see TV. And I wouldn't be shocked if we see the Thunder and the Spurs time in and time out playing in the Western Conference Finals. That's all I got. A little bit of shorter video today. Drop a comment down below. Am I crazy, or this Thunder model, is it going to work, but only work for teams like them that draft right and have a lot of draft capital? Drop a comment down below. Hit that TSR Sports channel. Subscribe to become part of our Ultimate Sports community. I thank you, and as always, go Spurs, go.